Pole position here at Zolder for Jerry Taylor with Ed Hayes P2. Then it's Adam Croft third on the grid, Nick Hull next to him, followed by Richard Avery and Graham Hurd. The Class A cars completed by Gary Lawrence. Jason Flegg, pole position for Class B, the productions with Philip Grayson and Mark Marshall. Then it's Michael Goodacre completing the grid. Simon Hawksley, pole position for the 924s with Alistair Kirkham. Then David Jones and Hugh Peart. Phil Waters, who only had the one lap in qualifying, starts in 15th at the back of the field. Pole position, as we look at the cars, is right of shot. The black and white with green trim car of Jerry Taylor guesting at this round. Green flag from the back of the field for this BRSCC away day at Zolder. Well, they're underway. Looks like a good start. We've got a staller. It's Nick Hull, who's had a problem off the line. Right behind him, we're in car with Graham Hurd, and you can see the black and white car of Hugh Peart going past them. So Nick's got a fair bit of work to do, and so too has Graham Hurd now. This is the view in car with Mark Marshall. Looking, he's in the production boxers, and he's got two productions up ahead of him. Philip Grayson in white, and Marshall's teammate Jason Flegg, so far unbeaten this year, taking 2 wins apiece at Croft and Silverstone. So coming down, or coming out of the Lucien Bianchi turn down into the Klein chicane, and then they'll head around to, this is turn 5, the chicane, up the hill very slightly to turn 6, in the area very sadly where Gilles Villeneuve lost his life all those years ago. We're at turn 7, Terlenbocht, the corner named after the locale here at Zolder, and then they'll go down towards Bouldersberghaus, which is turn 8. Well, we'll pick them up. It looks like everybody's made a clean start of it, aside from those problems with Nick Hull and Graham Hurd, who was right behind him. I don't think had any chance to get past, but luckily no damage. Jason Flegg leading the production class, followed by Philip Grayson in white. Grayson joining the championship at Croft, had a DNF in the first race, took second position in class in race 2 and the fastest lap. So very clearly notice of intent from the former Toyo Tires BMW Championship racer, and great to see him in the championship. So Graham Hurd trying to look down the inside of Nick Hull. As you can see, as a result of that recalcitrant start, Nick Hull and company have got some work to do to come through the 924s, and Graham Hurd goes up slightly out onto the curbs there. He's going to have to nip back down the inside. The car he's passing is Alistair Kirkham, the red and gold 924, but the Class A boxers are through. Bang! Oh, well, very clearly Gary Lawrence, I beg your pardon, Graham Hurd wants to get a move on. He didn't do that deliberately. You can see how much momentum he's lost. So it's Jerry Taylor still leading the race. Ed Hayes second, Richard Avery third for Gary Lawrence and Graham Hurd, who's just past Jason Flegg there. Then Philip Grayson. Nick Hull is behind them and not catching these two front-running production cars as quickly as we thought he might. So I'm wondering if there is a problem for Nick Hull. Mark Marshall's in 9th place. And Philip Waters, who is the lead 924 at the moment. Now Philip's had a pretty rough time of it this year so far. He's only started 3 races, DNF 2 of them, took second place at Croft. So a class win here for Philip Waters, and potentially a fastest lap could set his season heading the right way. But we go back to the race leader, Jerry Taylor, who has responded to the threat of Ed Hayes by the looks of things, and he's starting to build up a little bit more of a lead. He hasn't lost Hayes completely. Down into turn 5 we go again. In fact, Hayes is a little bit closer than I thought there, and you can see they're into back marker traffic. They've passed Alistair Kirkham, who's running third in the 924s. So we'll see Kirkham flash through shot as we go back to the leader, Jerry Taylor. One mistake and Ed Hayes is going to be right on him. So both these guys, former Caterham champions, who have elected to come into the Porsche Championship. Jerry Taylor, who took 2 podia on very, very limited run last year, a 7-time race winner, was the 1996 champion. He's won many more races than 7, but since I've been keeping stats from 2010, and in the Boxsters has won at Anglesey, 3-time winner at Rockingham, twice winner at Alton Park, also won at Crofts. So wherever Jerry Taylor races, he tends to do fairly well, and he's going to add Zolder to his list of Boxster winning circuits. There's the lead 924, Philip Waters coming through shot. Simon Hawksley in second position, the 924 championship leader, goes into turn 1, and I think they're going to be lapped before the end of the race by Jerry Taylor. Now this is going to maybe cause a problem for him. I'm not saying the drivers themselves are going to cause a problem, but depending on where you hit the back markers on track, could cause an issue. It might allow Ed Hayes a chance to have a late run. As we look through the trees, Jerry Taylor still there. Through Lucien Bianchi turn. There is Philip Waters. You can see the second place 924 about to be lapped by the overall race leader. Jerry Taylor through, clatters the curbs very slightly, not enough to unsettle the car, and certainly not enough to allow Ed Hayes to close in as near as he would like in these closing stages of the race. So Taylor's still out front. Hayes has now dealt with the back marker as well. Into the last lap of the race, the last few corners, and Jerry Taylor looks like on his return, as Richard Styron did, he's going to make it a win. Out of turn 7, Bouldersburg Harspelt corner here, turn 8, and he turns in, very neatly done, fastest lap, pole position. There's Philip Waters, who gets the blue flag from the marshals on the Jackie Hicks turn, keeps it very tight. Great driving from Philip Waters, who's on his way to a class win. And it's going to be Jerry Taylor to take it. You can see the blue flag still being waved for the 924s. And Jerry Taylor goes into the Jackie Hicks turn for the last time, and we'll pick him up coming along the straight, the checkered flag being readied. And it is Jerry Taylor that takes the win. Ed Hayes second behind him, and then Philip Waters wins the 924s now crossing the line. Waters takes the 924 win. Simon Hawksley crossing the line now is second and cementing that championship lead. Here comes Richard Avery. Fourth positions, now being bettered by a third. Avery takes his first podium in the Boxsters. Great stuff from Richard Avery. Gary Lawrence is fourth. Here comes Gary, Richard's teammate, up across the line. Alistair Kirkham following him, the 924. Alistair will get a podium for his troubles there. So it was Jerry Taylor, pole position, win, fastest lap. Ed Hayes second, Richard Avery first podium in third place for him. Then it was Gary Lawrence and Graham Hurd in fifth position after that difficult start. In the 924s, Philip Waters crossing line first with Simon Hawksley second, Alistair Kirkham in third place. And in the production class, Jason Flegg winning from Philip Grayson, Mark Marshall in third.
Jerry, pole to flag, first place, very good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm really pleased, very, very hot out there. In these cars, it's all about the start. Well, in most championships, it's all about the start, obviously, but I got a good start. I was very pleased with it. Ed kept the pressure on. I was longing for a little bit more of a gap so I could start braking a little bit earlier because the brakes started going off a tad. rear tyres a little bit, so I just really wanted to get the opportunity to start easing back, maybe to sort of 85%, 90%. But the pressure was there, and I had to keep it on 95% for most of the time. I think I was fairly consistent with my lap times, fairly close to what I did in qualifying. So it was a long, hard race, even though it was 20 minutes, but it seemed a lot longer. But pleased to get the checker flag.
Good start to the weekend. So that puts you on pole for tomorrow, does it?
It puts me on pole for tomorrow, and I've got a companion with me. That's 40 kilos of weight. We have success ballast in this championship, so I'm going to be running 40 kilos heavier. I'm going to be having that next to me. Some nice cast iron castings, tailor-made in Stoke-on-Trent in my own foundry.
Well, Jason, a good start to your production career.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. It's sort of got me in front now. I think I'm a fair old way, so yeah, no, all good.
Now, you were pushed all the way in that race. You couldn't ease off, could you?
No, I mean, Phil in the Porsche car was just fabulous. I mean, I got a couple of laps on him at the start. I was pulling away. 3 laps in, he started catching me, and it was funny because I'm fast around the back and he's fast around the front, and it was just, we was literally nose to tail all the way. It was a brilliant race, really enjoyed it.
Philip, you came first in your class. Quite a reasonable battle going on, I thought.
Yeah, Simon's a good fellow, you know, and he's got good pace. And I've just had the car sorted by Alistair Kirkham, one of the other competitors who's been doing it a long time, and it's just handles like a dream. So I was able to keep up with Simon for the first time, really.
And not too worried by the heat?
No, not really. Look at my skin, look. I'm used to it.
Didn't adversely affect the car?
Yeah, of course. They don't like running hot, so we have to do things like take the bonnet off at every opportunity, preferably when we've stopped, and have the fans on, and you know, do the usual things really, use lots of coolant, etc. But no, it's okay.
Jerry Taylor on pole with Ed Hayes alongside. Row 2, Richard Avery and Gary Lawrence. On row 3, it's Graham Hurd and Nick Hull, and the race boxsters completed by Adam Croft. Jason Flegg and Philip Grayson on the front row of the production class. Then it's Mark Marshall and Michael Goodacre. The 924s led by first-time winner from race 1, Philip Waters. Then Simon Hawksley, Alistair Kirkham and David Jones 4th, and Hugh Peart lining up in 5th place. Green flag from the back of the field here at Zolder for round 6 of the Toyo Tires Porsche Championship. 20 minutes of race action about to get underway, which it does. And a great start by Jerry Taylor in red, white and green. Nick Hull's looking down the inside. He's got away well this time, but Ed Hayes challenging for the lead as well. Adam Croft side by side with Nick Hull. He's looking to get up into 5th position. Graham Hurd down behind them, the red and white car. You can see the production class led by Jason Flegg, who will renew battle with Philip Grayson here in 48. Around the canal turn, coming down to turn 4. Luciano Bianchi corner. Told you all about Luciano in race number 1. And then the long straight. This is effectively the back straight. You can see the pit complex, very slim pit complex, as we go down the back straight, looking over to the right of shot. Adam Croft has made a much better start in this one in 59, up behind Richard Avery. Nick Hull, though, has got 3 of him, so Nick Hull having a very good run as they go up the rise out of turn 5 and now down into Tullerman-Bocht, which is turn 7, and Ed Hayes now in front. So Ed Hayes leading this one from Jerry Taylor. Nick Hull, Adam Croft. There is Graham Hurd in 99. Coming out of turn 7, heading now down to turn. You get a good feel of the gradients here as well from our camera positions. It's a circuit that the drivers are greatly enjoying. Back with the productions, there's Philip Grayson in 84, and this is the in-car shot from the man who finished 2nd in the production class last time. But Jason Flegg unbeaten in class this year, seemingly without a chink in his armour so far this year. But as you can see, and as we have seen from Philip Grayson in race number 1, he's having a go now and putting his foot down. This is going to be the outside line down into turn 1, but he's certainly got the pace out of turn 10 past the pit complex. Is he going to hold on to the lead here? He's in the outside line. No, he's not going to hold on to the lead. You can see from the pose that the cars... That's Adam Croft off the circuit into the gravel. The cubic car, what a miserable start to the... I've got to say, Adam Croft looked hungry in those opening laps. I thought he was going to be on for a return to the podium. You can see they've already got one of the recovery cords on it to pull it out of the gravel. So hopefully that will be cleared by the next time they come around. This is the battle for the productions. We're on board with the second place car, Jason Flegg, trying to defend an unbeaten record so far this year. Flegg has had fastest lap in 3 of those as well. Grayson, the man taking the fastest lap from him at Croft in race number 2. Down the straight we go. Grayson, the 30-year-old from Leeds, car looked after by Porsche Tech. Team put the car themselves together. A very welcome addition to the championship. And as you can see, battling hard with Nick Hull, who's not really getting away. So Nick not having the best of races here. He's going to pick up some very useful points in 4th place at the moment. So coming around turn 7. And we'll see whether Flegg can build up a bit of momentum, go slightly wider on that corner, and really closing in now. You saw the car, the way it was almost leaning over coming through that corner. He really is on a mission at the moment, Jason Flegg. And as I mentioned, fastest lap for him. He comes out of turn 8 through turn 9. The race leader's got time to adjust his mirror. He wants to see where the chaser is. He wants a clear view of it. He's still got Nick Hull in front of him, coming down into turn 10. Nothing doing at the moment from Flegg, but the race leader goes over the curbs, comes out of it, and will absolutely floor it now. Remember, this is where he made the pass on Jason Flegg earlier on in the race. Flegg was a little bit more over to the centre of the track and probably more defensive than the race leader is at this stage. So it looks like... does look like Philip's pretty confident at the moment. Runs a little bit wide there over the curve. And the thing you have to keep in perspective here is Nick Hull is absolutely no slouch at all, and he's in the full race box, and this is the leading production box to keeping pace with Nick at the moment. Nick, to be fair to him, might have picked up a little bit of damage in the instant where he went off. He had a pretty bouncy moment over the curbs and into the gravel. So past David Jones in car number 8, who now thankfully has been extricated from the gravel. David running 4th in class. Of course, the thing here is if he can get enough laps in the race and be a classified finisher, he'll pick up some useful championship points and maybe continue on his improvement journey from 4th in the table coming into this event. So Nick Hull still there, 4th position in the race. Philip Grayson 5th, Jason Flegg in 6th. The 2 production cars chasing, and you can see here through the twisty parts of the circuit the production class car really holding its own and putting Nick Hull under a bit of pressure here. Not something we'd expect to see big time. Well, the news is that we've lost Ed Hayes. So Ed Hayes is out of the race, and Richard Avery is the race leader here. And I said going from his first podium in race number 1, he's on for his first ever win in the championship. Gary Lyon back into the lead of the productions. Goes Jason Flegg. So Flegg's through. Well, Philip Grayson getting very crossed up there, and Jason Flegg goes through. And I think this is going to be on to his last lap. So Jason Flegg back into the lead. Philip Grayson's going to have to build up for it. Remember, he passed going into turn 1. You can see Nick Hull still in front. I don't think causing any problems for these 2 guys. But Jason Flegg, the production race leader, looking to make it 6 wins from 6 starts in the production class. Philip Grayson's had a superb race here, and he's going to take it. He's still learning the car, he's learning the circuits as well. There, though, is Richard Avery. Ed Hayes did have a problem. Richard Avery, who has the fastest lap of the race as well, from 3rd on the grid, 3rd position in race number 1, is going to, barring any problems in these late stages of the last lap, take his first win in the championship. So 2 new for 2014 race winners here at Zolder. So Richard Avery in the number 6 car comes through turn 9, heading down towards turn 10, which is the last corner on the circuit, to take his first ever win in the championship. Here's the view from our camera at turn 1. Adam Croft busy chasing Alistair Kirkham. Adam got going as well, but it's the flash of the lights for the checkered flag. Richard Avery takes his first win, and everybody on the pit wall is delighted for him, and rightly so. It was a great drive, taking the fastest lap as well, picked his way through. Second position is going to go to Gary Lawrence. Going across the line now is Graham Hurd, who's 12th overall and picking up 5th place. Here's Gary Lawrence. It's another podium for Gary, and his best result of the season. Remember, he had 3rd at Silverstone round 1, a 2nd place, so a superb result for him. 3rd position is going to go to Nick Hull. Nick Hull's on the podium. What a gritty drive from Hull to bring the car home in 3rd position. A podium for him, his first one of the year. His previous best this year was 5th place in the opening race of the year. He's going to be delighted with the points. We need to take a look at the race result. Richard Avery, first win. Gary Lawrence in 2nd, with Nick Hull 3rd. Adam Croft recovers from his moment for 4th place, and Graham Hurd nursing his car home for 5th position. In the 924s, it was a win for championship leader Simon Hawksley from Alistair Kirkham 2nd, and Hugh Peart in 3rd place, and Jason Flegg. That man wins again, his unbeaten run. He's now 6 wins. Philip Grayson chased him hard, and he takes 2nd position with Hugh Peart in 3rd.
Richard, to say that was an interesting race is a bit of an understatement. It was a bit of a battle of attrition, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. They were dropping off all over the place. There was a couple of guys with engine issues and all sorts. I had a perfect race. First win this season. Started in 5th. I started on 3rd on the grid. I lit up the tyres, got a wheel spin going, and then that dropped me into 5th. And then I was just sort of picking them off one at a time. And then the rest was sort of history, really. And yeah, it's brilliant, but so hot, absolutely roasting out there.
Right, Jason, to say that was an interesting race is a bit of an understatement, isn't it?
That's absolutely awesome. Really enjoyed it. Me and Phil had a fantastic battle. He caught me, I think second lap or 3rd lap. Just brilliant move up the inside, and I had no answer to it at all, and he outbraked me as well, and then took the lead. And just started pulling away. My head was just all over the place. I just thought I couldn't believe what was going on. And then obviously Nick came in as well. He must have had an issue at the start in the full fats. And I just sort of gathered it all back together again and started gaining. And then I finally took advantage. We come on the last corner just for the start-finish straight. And I just got a better drive out the corner, come up the inside and did almost identical move to Phil, and took the race back a 2nd lap from the end, so good result.
Simon win there in the 924s.
Yeah, it seemed to feel a lot better this morning. The car was really well balanced. I think we've nailed the tyre pressure problems we were having, and the new brakes feel pretty good. Real shame about Phil. Phil was really giving us a run for our money, and was leading, but had a slight problem, so that kind of handed me the win. But very pleased, yeah.
Yeah, we were looking forward to a good battle there.
Yeah, it was going to turn into a good battle. There was the 3 of us. Alistair was also fairly close behind, so that would have been interesting, but not to be in the end.
And on to our final race of the weekend here at Zolder, with the grid slated to look like this. Graham Hurd on pole with Adam Croft, then Nick Hull and Gary Lawrence. On row 3, Richard Avery and Jerry Taylor, followed by Ed Hayes. Next it's the production boys, Michael Goodacre and Mark Marshall on the front row. Row 2, Philip Grayson and Jason Flegg. Maintaining the reverse grid theme for the 924s, David Jones and Hugh Peart, then Alistair Kirkham and Simon Hawksley, Philip Waters lining up at the back of the field. Well, the news is that Graham Hurd has withdrawn from the meeting. He's handed his car over to Ed Hayes because Ed had an engine problem in race number 1. And it means that Adam Croft lines up on pole position with Nick Hull alongside Richard Avery. Is the meat in the sandwich, the green and white car. Race 2 winner gets away well. Ed Hayes is in the red and white car here. So a change of cars, very sporting stuff from the drivers here. And Hayes already trying to get stuck in, but so too is Jerry Taylor, who I think he's up into 3rd place already in the TF car. Here's the view that was, I remind you, Graham Hurd in the previous races, and this time it's Ed Hayes. Now, we saw Graham having problems in race 2. He was stuck in 3rd gear, so he was touring around the whole laps in race number 2 in 3rd gear, but he got the car home, having broken the gear stick. They fixed that, handed the car over to Ed Hayes, who had engine failure in race 2. Alistair Kirkham, by the way, in the 924s has had electrical problems in the meeting. We think we've cured them now, so we'll see how we go on in the race, which is well and truly underway. And I've got to get used to saying Ed Hayes in this car instead of Graham Hurd. So heading around turn 6, already coming up to the Gilles Villeneuve chicane at turn 7. Cracking scrap going on for the lead. Here come the production boys with Philip Grayson ahead of double winner this weekend, Jason Flegg, still unbeaten this year. Grayson, I think, kicked up some dirt there. The Porsche Tech machine, very clearly a competitive car. We saw him battle hard and take the lead in race 2, but at the moment he's making the most of this reverse grid race and leading his... Oh, Nick Hull gets the back end of the car all over the curbs, a little bit on the dirt, scrubs off some speed, and Ed Hayes is going to try and look up the inside here. Hayes, of course, familiarising himself with a car that for sure is going to feel different to his own. I think he's got the move done on Nick Hull. We won't know until they come back into view, so waiting for the leaders. Here they come. Adam Croft, who really is due some good luck this weekend. It's good to see him leading this one. So Croft leads from Avery. Then it's Jerry Taylor, followed by Gary Lawrence, then Ed Hayes. And Nick Hull down behind them. This is the view from Gary Lawrence in 93, so we're in car with him. You can see Crofty still out front, Richard Avery in 2nd, and then 3rd place Jerry Taylor. Are we going to get a 3rd different winner? Adam Croft certainly, he's won races before in the championship, and hopefully the mindset will be a little bit more positive now he's at the front after 2 very difficult races thus far. Terrific view here from 4th position. Jerry Taylor goes to the outside of the track. That'll be the outside for the next corner. Switches over to attack on the inside, down into the Kleiner chicane at turn 5. I think he's too far back, didn't carry enough speed to threaten. And Avery maintains 2nd position in car number 6. It's Adam Croft still out front. The lead quartet all very close. Any one of those 4 cars at the moment could emerge from the next lap in the lead position. Ed Hayes is in 5th place. Now I'm just thinking on the timing screen, if he sets a best lap, it goes purple on the timing screen, so that'll be Purple Hayes. He's probably heard that one before, but anyway, we'll park that one and go back to look at Nick Hull in car number 7, who's chasing Ed Hayes, but out front Adam Croft still there. Richard Avery 2nd, still coming under pressure from Jerry Taylor after his non-finish. It was that, I think, damage that when he went over the curbs broke the exhaust on the car in race number 2. And this is the view again from Ed Hayes, who's chasing hard to get on terms with the lead quartet, but a problem, brake problem, or maybe outbraked himself. We'll go for the brake problem later in the meeting. Nick Hull being later in this event rather, and Nick Hull manages to get back past him. You can see him at the back of the pack, but now coming through and challenging for 2nd place is Jerry Taylor. We're on board with the 4th place machine. Gary Lawrence down into turn 1. I think we're going to get a change for the lead. It's difficult to see from here, but through on the inside, I think Crofty's lost the lead. He's going to lose 2nd position as well. Jerry Taylor's gone through. Richard Avery, the race leader. Adam Croft down to 3rd. Well, Crofty's not had the same competitive lappery this weekend as the other 2 guys, to be fair to him, and he's down to 3rd. Maybe still in with a shout of a podium and a decent points haul. Gary Lawrence is going to try and close in on him for sure now. He's not that far back. The camera does tend to make the gap look a bit bigger than it really is. So Richard Avery, the race leader. 2nd position is Jerry Taylor. 3rd position is Adam Croft, who's lost a couple of lengths. Just a little bit of momentum for him now, but still in 3rd. And what this of course gives us now is the battle between the two guys who have won both of the races so far this weekend. At the moment we've got the man who won race 2, Richard Avery, out front, chasing him hard, the guest driver to the championship who took pole position in Saturday's qualifying session, won Saturday's race as well, getting the fastest lap. Let's not forget that Richard Avery took fastest lap in his race as well. So this effectively, in our triple header this weekend, is effectively the grand final of the meeting. And you'll have to excuse me saying that because Taylor's looking down the inside and challenging for the lead. Taylor looks for the lead and goes through. Great manoeuvre, had superb speed coming out of the Jochen Rindt turn 9 and slotted the car down the inside of turn 10 to take over in the lead of the race as we go back to Ed Hayes, still chasing Nick Hull. I wonder if he did outbrake himself a little bit earlier on. He might be managing whatever brake problems he's got. And as we say, remember the cars towards the end of the races, the driver's telling me that the brakes can be an issue. You have to really work the car fairly gently through the course of the meeting because they can go off, and particularly for the cars carrying ballast it can be a big problem. Success ballast added to the cars. You can see Nick Hull right on the limit, the back end just wanting to snap away from him, so he really is on the ragged edge here. Coming down into turn 4, then we've got the long straight. Now back to the battle for the race lead. I was saying this effectively a grand final. There aren't any extra points on offer for winning this third race. Normal championship points apply, but just between these two guys having won one race apiece so far in the meeting, this is kind of the battle of honour, isn't it, between them? The Belgian battlefield here, you could say. Third place is still Adam Croft, so Adam getting closer to Richard Avery at the moment. Gary Lawrence still in 4th place. Then Nick Hull and Ed Hayes in car number 99 working hard. Alistair Kirkham running well. Had some electrical problems, as we mentioned, over the course of the meeting so far. We might have a third different winner in the 924s, which just goes to show you how competitive that class is. Still some great racing to be had from those machines. People looking to come into motor racing and some cost-effective Porsche racing. Nick Hull and Ed Hayes. Hayes at the moment still behind Hull. And Jason Flegg's got ahead now of Philip Grayson. So Grayson's having a look offline. Flegg in round 7 of the Toyo Tires Porsche Championship, unbeaten so far. Adam Croft having a look at the inside line of Richard Avery. So some good attacking driving here from Adam Croft. Brake failure in race number 1. Let's hope he doesn't have the same issues here in race 2. He's certainly working hard and challenging the second place car of Richard Avery, who'll be the new championship leader coming away from Zolder. And that's going to be significant, of course, in terms of the pass that Jerry Taylor made. Now, for sure, Richard Avery wants to win the race. He wants to beat Jerry Taylor because Jerry's got all this experience of racing in Caterham, racing in the Porsche Championship, preparing the cars. So it is a matter of honour between those two drivers. But at the back of his mind, you can't help thinking that Richard Avery is just saying to himself, well, hang on, Jerry Taylor's not in the championship points. He didn't do the first 2 rounds. Even if he does the rest of the season, he's got a hill to climb in terms of championship points. So effectively, Richard Avery picking up race winners' points here in car number 6 at the moment, leading. What he won't want is the pressure from Adam Croft, which was building on the previous lap, although he seems to have responded to that and has pulled away. Saying he's responded is often a little bit of a cliche, isn't it? Because the drivers are trying hard all the way through the race, and it might be that Crofty's had maybe a little bit of an issue or not such a good lap. Down behind him we've got Gary Lawrence in 4th position, looking to rack up another podium to add to the second one that he had in race number 2. There is Alistair Kirkham, who leads, having sorted out his problems, is now leading the 924 class, approaching half distance here. And Kirkham's got a good old lead, hasn't he, now he's sorted things out. Running very well indeed. Fastest lap in class is actually Simon Hawksley at the moment. There is Simon, who's really getting a bit of pace on in the number 2 car. Ed Hayes now ahead of Nick Harlan. Back to the production battle. These two have done so many miles this weekend close together. Jason Flegg, the black and red car, still leading the white machine of Philip Grayson. Flegg's got a little bit of breathing space at the moment, probably as much as we've seen all weekend. But Grayson, one mistake from Flegg and he's going to be absolutely on it, isn't he? Flegg's got fastest lap in class as well. Jerry Taylor going through shot now. He's the fastest man outright on track and still leading the race. And Adam Croft coming under pressure from Gary Lawrence. So battle developing for third place here. We're going to see another podium from Gary Lawrence. 93 through turn 5, heading up the hill through the sweeping left-hander turn 6, then into the Gilles Villeneuve chicane, which opens up Telemann box, which is turn 7. The race leader's already there and heading down towards Boulder's Berghaarspeld bocht. And I'll make every apology for my appalling Dutch accent and pronunciation. We have to have one go at getting the corner names absolutely correct. That's turn 8. Here's the view from Jason Flegg. You can see best lap time thus far on his last lap, 1:56.56. Fastest lap of the race for him, and indeed fastest lap of the class. So he's looking to improve on that this time if he can do it. Great in-car shot here from the man who very clearly leads the championship in terms of the production class. What we'd love to see is Jason Flegg move up into Class A. Now with such a decent lead, I'm wondering whether he'll be tempted to do it before the end of the season, maybe wrap up the productions and move up into Class A. We've got very heavily waved yellows as Adam Croft's car is pulled away, and I don't think Adam will thank us for putting that in the pictures. It really is rubbing salt into the wound, I think. Philip Grayson goes through and back with Jason Flegg. Man behind him, Philip Grayson. Of course, these two, if they move up, and this has been the success of the production class, I've mentioned it on other programmes as well. Production class there is really to bring people into the championship. It's more cost effective than coming into the full race class because you've not got the race parts on the car effectively, but all the drivers so far that have come in have all expressed an interest or actually moved up into the championship, into Class A, the championship themselves. We may see that with the two guys that are having the honours at the moment. Simon Hawksley's got a problem. Well, he's got the fastest lap of the racing class so far, but Hawksley is out of it. The championship leader pulls the number 2 car up into the gravel and into retirement. So bitter disappointment for the championship leader, and we look back to Jerry Taylor, who's going to make it 2 out of 3. He's pulling clear of Richard Avery. 1 minute 52.685, over 125 kilometres per hour average for Jerry Taylor, who had that non-finish in race 1. Adam Croft's car still being recovered, so these guys will have to back off just a little bit. Taylor into the last third of the race. Richard Avery is chasing him. He's in the 153s, Richard Avery, the chaser, in second position. Gary Lawrence in third place at the moment, perhaps on for another podium. Certainly looking pretty good for him. You can see the leaders still in touch with each other. So Avery's not given up, took his first win in race number 2. He's going to carry a lot of confidence from that win to take to Rockingham, and it's still his first season in the championship. Wonderful, as we said in race number 2, to see these newcomers getting podium positions. Here's Philip Waters. I think has had some issues here. Won the first race from the back of the field. Took fastest lap as well, 10th position overall. Through goes David Jones in red with the black bonnet. David's going to have some useful points from this weekend for sure as well. Jerry Taylor is closing up on them. As with the other races, the race distance timed to 20 minutes is something the BRSCC do to give all their competitors the maximum amount of track time. 20 minutes racing. If you end up having a safety car, that obviously time comes down to the 20 minutes, so the idea is the drivers behave themselves on circuit as much as possible. And the 20-minute races this weekend have equated to 11 laps for the Class A full race spec Boxsters and 10 laps for the 924s, broadly speaking, and it looks like we're on schedule for that again. Jerry Taylor away and in the lead, and we're on board with Mark Marshall, who's on for yet another production podium, third position in class, a little way adrift of Philip Grayson and his teammate Jason Flegg, but nonetheless doing a good job in third place. Changes up and remains on the gear lever to change down to come into turn number 1. Makes a neat turn in as we go back to our race leader. As you can see, ticking off the back markers very effectively. Back markers being told the faster cars are coming through by the wave blue flags from the marshals. Richard Avery still in second position. The gap now out to about 3 seconds. Down into turn 10 go the two leaders. Now we've got Ed Hayes up into third place. So Ed Hayes is now third ahead of Gary Lawrence. So Hayes in a borrowed car is on for another podium. I'm just thinking about statistically, DNF in the previous race as the race leader goes on to his last lap. Ed Hayes will have finished all his races on the podium, so I'm wondering if Richard Avery will have the overall championship lead leaving Zolder. But after drop scores, if we look at Ed Hayes' scores, he's had 4 second positions, and if he stays where he is, 2 third places with 1 DNF, which he can afford because there are drop scores in the championship. But enough time to think about the championship table for the rest of the year, because we're only on round 7, and that is being led by Jerry Taylor, who's closing down on Philip Waters in the 924. Philip, I think, about to be lapped for the second time. He goes through, race leader goes through turn 5 and now comes down into the chicane. Philip Waters keeps a good wide line, so great driving from Philip. Still running 4th in class, so he's going to pick up some useful points again from this race. But Jerry Taylor is going to be the man who emerges with 2 wins, 2 fastest laps. He had pole position at the start of the event as well, and he's now got the gap out to very nearly 5 seconds over Richard Avery. You can see Richard down just about the length of that straight behind the race leader at the moment, but as the top regular competitor in the championship, he's going to be very pleased with his points haul. So down into turn 10, the Jackie Eakes box for the last time, and expecting to see the checkered flag, which is being readied on the start-finish line. Up ahead of him, Alistair Kirkham's got another lap to do. So Kirkham's got another lap. He's leading the 924s, but it's a win. Win number 2 for Jerry Taylor. Second place, you can see Richard Avery is absolutely delighted with that. Philip Waters takes the checkered flag. He's going to be classified in 4th place in the 924s. Ed Hayes in the car borrowed from Graham Hurd takes 3rd position. Gary Lawrence is in 4th place. And across the line, David Jones and Hugh Peart. What a race they've had. Hugh Peart comes across the line, classified in 2nd. Here comes Nick Hull. Nick in 5th position in car number 7. And the last of our winners about to come over the line, the checkered flag for Jason Flegg, who makes it 7 starts, 7 wins, 7 fastest laps. Where is Philip Grayson? The answer is Grayson still in 2nd position, but a little way down on the winner of his class. Jerry Taylor confirmed as 2 out of 3 wins. Richard Avery picks up the other win for the weekend in race 2, his first. Congratulations to those guys. Ed Hayes 3rd, Gary Lawrence in 4th position, and Nick Hull in 5th. 3 different winners in the 924s this weekend. The 3rd of those was Alistair Kirkham. Hugh Peart takes 2nd, and David Jones in 3rd place. Continuity of the order of the day in the productions. 3 wins out of 3 for Jason Flegg, and 3 second positions for Philip Grayson.
You left Phil behind a bit there. Is he having problems, or were you just driving better?
No. He was, bless him, he was taking the curbs a lot harder than I was, and I think he flattened the wheel a little bit, so he's getting a bit of vibration. The first 2 laps we changed positions 4 times, and it was just great, but unfortunately he was just a little bit rougher than me, and he ended up, he just couldn't drive it, so he eased off a bit apparently. That's his excuse anyway.
Well, we look forward to seeing you at Rockingham, and hopefully Battle can be rejoined.
Yes, indeed. The nice thing is I've raced at all the English circuits. Obviously Silverstone was our first one, that was a new track, so I'd never been on that, and neither had Phil. Croft I'd never been to before, and I'd never been here, so now hopefully when I was racing the 924s, these circuits are all known to us, so hopefully it'll be quicker when I'll leave him behind.
Ed, interesting weekend. You managed to break your car fairly significantly in the second race, and then you borrowed a car for the third race, so tell us about it.
Yeah, no, it's went from a sort of up and down all the time. We were in the lead during the race, maybe sort of 6 minutes left, and then the engine just let go, so I pulled in. That was that. Starting to pack things away, change the ferry bookings and stuff, and Graham's had a couple of little incidents and he's feeling in a bit of a bad mood, so unbelievably said take my car, so we went and did all the necessary stuff upstairs and took the car and got third with it, so really chuffed.
Richard, what a weekend you've had.
Brilliant weekend. Second then, so I've had all 3 now. I've had a first, a second and a third. But, perfect finish to the perfect weekend, really. Perfect, whole thing.
It looked like it was absolutely baking out there.
It was absolutely roasting. It's just got hotter and hotter all day long. It's really suffering. So there's a couple of the guys that have suffered with heat stroke, finished early. Just can't handle it anymore. But I'm absolutely ringing now. But yeah, it's brilliant. I'm absolutely chuffed. Got to thank TF Motorsport for what they've done for me this weekend. Couldn't have done it without the lads, to be honest, and obviously all my guys and the sponsor at Avery's Garage. So yeah, really pleased.
Jerry, back of the grid to the front of the grid.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the back of the grid was only sort of third row, but that was great. That was really good. The 2 guys in front of me, both my customers, so I've got to be a little bit careful. But I really enjoyed it. It was a cracking first corner. It's just what racing's all about, really. And it just, really nice getting stuck in. And again, sort of my old trick. Moved up a couple of places, and then I was lying second and put a bit of pressure on Richard. And I think he must have caught 5th instead of 3rd, coming out of the hairpin. So the kind of plan worked, poor old bugger, but it was great. Yeah, took the lead, and then I think Richard then probably maybe had a bit of brake trouble, overheating, etc. So kind of eased off, and then it was just a sort of a drive back home to the finish. So very enjoyable.